It's the 2021 AM Worlds from the Orlando, Florida area. Brought to you by Fox Hills Productions. Grant Zellner and Jennifer Allen with back nine coverage of the MA40 division. This is round number 3. During that front nine, we watched Nathan Deledda retain his one-stroke lead. Craig Wesnofske, Sammy Navarre, and Ben Boyter round out our foursome today. This is also the challenging name card, I think. Right, Jen?
Yeah, there's a few on there. I'm glad that's your job.
Hole number 10, 230 feet. Par 3 with an extraordinarily low ceiling, and that is saying something compared to what we've been seeing here in Florida.
Yes, this will give him a little bit of a challenge trying to keep these shots low, but still get up the fairway.
Here's Sammy off the tee. Not quite getting the shape Sammy was looking for. Craig up next.
That looks like it slides into the rough a little bit. Doesn't get it to turn over there to the right.
No, a really challenging shot shape required here.
Yeah, Nathan throws the forehand a lot. This should set up nicely if he can get that one to cut in, but all of them are just staying along that left side of the fairway.
Wow, 4 completely different approaches to the challenge of this hole.
Yeah, and you would think a roller would be nice, but... And this is going to be difficult too. That's still quite a ways to go, and that's exactly what I expected. You cannot get a jump putt up and progress, that far up the fairway.
So it looks like Ben will drop a stroke.
Wow, that was a great punch through. That was a tight approach as well.
I believe that was Nathan. So Craig now with an opportunity to pick up a stroke on the card.
Nice putt.
Catches the last chain link, I think. Fantastic.
Just a little short. Have to make sure to fully extend that arm up to get those to go in.
So unfortunately, a couple of our foursome taking a bogey on this 230-foot hole. And we move on to hole number 11, 280 feet. A fairly open hole, really, by the standards of many of the courses we've seen so far here in Central
this looks
Florida.
very simple compared to the other ones for sure. They just need to get it straight up the fairway. It's not too far. Maybe a mid-range disc that's not going to go left or right too much for them.
Sure, yeah, or a controlled sort of low and driving fairway driver will probably.
It also looks like there's a hyzer route too. Nathan is going to take that. Gets caught up there in those trees just a little bit. He'll still have a look.
Pin high, but probably 50 or so to go. Here's Sammy. Well done.
And the tricky roller comes out again from Ben.
Oh, Very fortunate to split the uprights right there, and he is parked.
Roller replay.
Sets that down on the angle just perfectly, and then gets a little bit of... You ever notice, Jen, how so often the fortunate kick follows something really good? You've got to do something right, and then you sort of earn your own luck.
That's why I've never trusted the roller. I don't trust my luck.
Sammy, I think, was counting on a little bit of wind to swing that putt in. It didn't quite work out.
Another great putt coming in from Craig. And Ben takes advantage of that great roller.
He sure does. We also have a new leader with a birdie start to this back nine. Craig Wesnofske takes the lead on the card. He'll have the box on hole number 12, 382 feet. One of the few par fours that we will see. A short par four by footage standards for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say this might set him up again for another easy birdie if they can just get a nice clean shot up to that front, pitch up, and then just a little tap in for the birdie.
Difficult to say exactly. It's gonna be all about the lie, really, and the angle of approach after these drives. Most of these drives probably more or less placement, and then we'll see what we have to work with.
Ben's going to try his luck again, rolling one up there.
Engage.
Really asking it to stand up, and it doesn't.
No, there ain't nothing. Run it, dude. Whichever
Sometimes
way
that
you
works.
go.
I motion to my disc constantly.
But again, even though that drive stayed well out to the right of where he was aiming, he may still have just as much opportunity as everyone else when it comes to approaching this location.
And Nathan makes sure there's no Mando and takes a very unusual route that looks a lot harder to hit than the gap straight in front of him. We'll see how that turns out. That looks like the most obvious route by Sammy, just straight up the middle. Mm-hmm. It's just that this basket's very guarded like most of the other ones.
Here we see what Sammy will have to navigate.
Come on over.
It just doesn't hold the turn for him. It had good height to work out, but just doesn't go over there to the right where he needed it to.
These players were playing with some fairly significant wind during stretches of the front nine. It looks like it's calmed down quite a bit, and maybe it's just another adjustment they need to make as Craig pins it.
Yeah, puts himself up there for another birdie.
Ooh, Nathan won't be very happy with that approach side. He's got a lot longer putt than he expected.
He's such a casual player. I mean, as the flip-flop show.
Yep.
Like, he just casually tosses it up there. Sometimes you need to put a little bit more effort into it.
Yeah, we hadn't mentioned that yet during this half of round 4 coverage. Nathan out there playing in flip-flops.
Which are legal, just not suggested.
Not with my ankles, they aren't. So Nathan with this for birdie after a pretty good drive. Oh!
Nice hit, Nate.
He made himself work for it.
He did. And Craig with the turkey to start the back nine.
Yeah, everybody on this card has rarely been separated by very many strokes, but now all of a sudden we've got 5 strokes separating our first through our 4th place players. The other par 4 on the back 9, well, they're back to back. Hole 13, 450 feet.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the longest holes we've seen. Dogleg back to the right. Might be a little harder to get the birdie on this one.
Different option. Try to hit clay. That'd be awesome.
I don't know if he meant to throw it.
That
along
snuck
that
through
line,
so
but-
much. Yeah, that really got through a long ways and a lot of trees.
Nathan playing a little bit more of a traditional line. I'm not going to say Craig didn't intend to do that, but
Yeah, it just depends if their distances can get them out in front of this last group of trees so they'll have a clean approach. That roller punches through again, another cluster on the ground, and it's going to get him out in front.
Sammy shaping a really nice drive out there and gives himself a pretty open, albeit long look.
That was a great shot in there, and that is his shot. You know, he likes that S fading shot, so that worked out well.
Nathan, well played. Had a lot to have to sort of navigate there.
Yeah, everyone looks like they're able to get up there. Now will they make that little tap in putt for birdie and take one of the longest holes, just make it look easy.
I hesitate to say this with 2 more still to putt, but we have an opportunity for our first star frame of the round here. Surely. Don't let us down, Nathan.
I'm holding my breath. I know. I'm holding my breath.
All right.
There we go. Okay.
All right. Well, that should propel us through the latter parts of this round. Hole 14, 375 feet, a par 3. Easily the longest par 3 that we've seen today. No doubt about it.
Yeah, compared to the last hole, this one has so much more to go through to get there. Placement's going to be everything on this shot.
Nathan with some good distance on that forehand.
Yeah, this is one of those holes, even though it's a par 3, par could pick up a stroke easily.
Certainly on the field. The way the openings down this fairway sort of align, it's difficult to see, I think, it's difficult to see a shot shape that's all that likely to make it all the way up to the basket.
Ooh. Sammy held on to that one.
Yeah, he's definitely in scramble mode here. Doesn't want to lose touch with the leaders.
And this is when you have to kind of just swallow the pride sometimes and not try to do that. Not try to get that far up the fairway when there's that much stuff in the way still. You know, punching out to the open is okay so you can get up there to the basket on the next shot.
All right, Craig with a look to save par.
Looks like these guys are scramble mode in the open. I mean, that tells you how hard it is to get there.
Sammy will be fortunate to get this close. Nope.
Come on, that one came out early.
Looked like it slipped out of his hand.
Yeah, this is a rough hole for him for sure. That at least punches through so he can have a look at it.
It was really an incredible shot. Unfortunately, it comes on the heels of several others. So Ben will bogey. And Craig will bogey. That helps Sammy not fall too far behind with his double.
Yeah, it looks like the pars on these last two holes were kind of flip-flopped.
It does, doesn't it? As Mr. Flip-Flops cashes in his par putt and picks up one or more strokes on each of his card mates. We're back to a tie at the top.
That couldn't have worked out better.
You'd think we planned that, but I promise
I
we
know.
didn't. Hole 15, 222 feet to a very elevated basket.
I am so glad I'm not playing. I would need a ladder.
That's a really elevated basket.
That is a very elevated basket. So they're just going to try to get up to the bottom of that so they don't have too long of a putt. Wow.
Nathan managed to land that drive unintentionally on one of the only bare patches. Right,
It's just perfect ground play.
right there.
Yeah.
Notice that he hits a bare patch.
Yeah. And another one. 2 bare patches to put him at the bottom of the ladder.
Oh, that was
Craig places himself pin high.
I thought we were going to see
I
a roller.
did as well. I really did. But
Has his katana out. Yeah.
Ben is at circle's edge, though. Sammy takes a
These
unique
guys-
line.
Yeah, they've done such a good job of showing us so many different ways to get to the basket on so many holes. Now let's see who can make the putt on the extreme elevation here. You definitely have to commit. When the basket's this high, you have to commit that you're going for it, because if you hesitate at all, it's going to hyzer off, and you're going to look at another long putt coming back. That was great. Oh,
Chains out.
that wasn't fair.
It's such a challenge, Jen. I mean, I don't know about you. I find that just about the only time I practice elevated putts like this are when I encounter one during a practice round, and then I'll throw a few extra putts at it. But rarely, other than that, do I work on putts to an elevated basket.
I will practice out at Vista, but we don't have anything this high. There is no, I mean, these guys are having trouble getting it out. That would be so difficult. I would have to try to land my putter up on that step.
Right. of course, you're not allowed to jump when you putt.
That is true.
You've got to have a point of contact with the ground behind your marker or your previously thrown disc. Anyway, hole 16, 250 feet, a par 3.
And a normal size basket.
And a normal height basket. And honestly, one of the it's interesting to call a hole that looks like this open, but this is a fairly open, straightforward shot.
Yeah, forehand might not have been the best choice. It doesn't really get him over there.
He's a forehand dominant player. I think he just threw that a bit higher than he liked. Craig puts himself on the edge of the circle. Now Sammy. So 250 feet, a relatively open hole, and nobody in tight.
That really surprised me. This one looked just kind of straightforward, but they had just too much angle on a lot of their drives, unfortunately, to get them close to the basket.
Sammy leaves himself just a little bit of work to save his par. Here's Craig.
Good putt.
Great putt by Craig. Right,
that's something Nathan has done the whole time. He is doing so good at just getting those pars.
Follows his routine every time as well, I've noticed. Hole 17, 212 feet.
This one a lot more in the way, so we'll see how they get up there.
This is interesting, though. Looking back from near the basket, you can see that a perfectly straight shot, if you get the distance correct, would leave you no more than a 15 or 20 foot putt. The temptation, though, is going to be to shape something.
That's what I've been seeing on a lot of these holes. If they would, just throw something out there straight, they're probably going to get a putt on almost all of them.
Can't remember who first pointed out to me that little bit of advice to occasionally look back at the tee from the basket or near the basket. You might realize that a certain strategy is available to you.
He's going to have a look at it.
Well, everybody's down there. I'm not sure if anybody has a putt they feel great about.
Ben wanted that one.
Sure did. Erg.
A little more in Craig's way here.
Great.
But he gets another birdie.
It's 2 in a row, and looking at that back nine scorecard.
Yeah, he's had a great round.
Really came on fire, though, during this back nine with 6 birdies in 8 holes.
And Nathan says, don't go anywhere yet. I can do that too. This has been such a tight battle the entire round between those two.
Back-to-back replays.
Good try.
Couple of pars to finish this one off before we head to the last hole.
Hole 18, 269 feet. Feels like we're on a completely different course all of a sudden, doesn't it?
It sure does. If we can just get it, I mean, any line you pick, let's get up there and get one more birdie to finish off this round.
Now, we know from experience our players can't count on too much ground play here. The grass out in the open, thick, sticky.
And that is very unfortunate when that happens. That's actually why I started wearing headphones so long ago.
Yeah.
He still gets off a pretty good drive there. He'll hopefully have a putt for it.
Someone shout. Someone made some noise
Mm-hmm.
right as he threw. All right, Nathan.
Nathan.
Within the circle.
So we're going left, we're going right. Pretty much anything you pick here. Maybe Sammy will go right up the middle.
Yeah, bends in tight. Here we go, Sammy. Little low.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just the angle off the tee pad. If you're going to pick a hyzer line, that left to right on the tee pad sometimes really helps open up the hips to get what you want accomplished there. Oh. I really wanted to see him finish that off after that distraction.
Well, Ben will close his round out with a birdie. And Nathan will clean up. And while Sammy cleans up, I'll mention that Nathan and Craig are tied with Daniel Schnabel, who was playing on another card. They're all tied now at 15 under par through now 4 rounds of this Am Worlds. An incredible hot round, though. Ty Peters played a 10 under par bogey-free round on the very same track that we just watched. I believe I said through 4 rounds. I meant to say through 3 rounds. The MA40 division with a lot of golf yet to play at this Am Worlds Championship. Follow the PDGA on social media or at pdga.com.